A strange message appeared online. No name, no explanation, just a puzzle. Within hours, the smartest minds on the internet were obsessed. But those who solved it, they vanished. What was Cicada 3301? And why does no one talk about what happened next? It was just another ordinary day on the internet, until a mysterious image appeared. The post didn't go viral right away. It wasn't flashy. No music, no clickbait, no crazy visuals. Just a plain black background with white text, posted anonymously on the site 4chan on January 4th, 2012. It read, "Hello, we are looking for highly intelligent individuals. To find them, we have devised a test. There's a message hidden in this image. Find it, and it will lead you on the road to finding us. We look forward to meeting the few that will make it all the way through. Good luck." 33, a 1-inch, that was it. No username, no branding, just a number 3301, and the invitation to take part in a so-called test. Now, if you're familiar with 4chan, you know how chaotic that site is. It's home to memes, trolls, and randomness. So at first, people just laughed it off. "Oh, another puzzle freak," some said. Others ignored it entirely. But then someone opened the image file in a hex editor and discovered there was a message hidden inside. A cipher, a real one, embedded deep in the code of the image, was a clue that unlocked the next part of the puzzle. And with that, the rabbit hole opened wide, and the game had officially begun. At first, only a few users joined in, but word started spreading fast across Reddit, 4chan, and cryptography forums. Everyone was asking the same questions. Who is 3301? What is this test for? And most importantly, what happens if you solve it? The puzzle quickly revealed itself to be unlike anything seen before on the internet. It wasn't just a brain teaser. It wasn't just some coded riddle. This was a complex, multi-layered, international challenge. As more people got involved, things started to get stranger. One clue led to a Tor hidden service, a website on the deep web that required special access. Another involved converting a book passage into binary. Some clues were hidden in audio files using steganography, while others required knowledge of ancient runes or literary references most people had never even heard of. But then came the twist that changed everything. A new clue led solvers to GPS coordinates, real locations, not online, but in the real world. And the coordinates weren't random. They were specific and global. People discovered posters at these locations, from Warsaw, Poland to Seoul, South Korea, Seattle, Paris, and Sydney. Each one had a picture of a cicada and a QR code. It was proof that this wasn't some bored teenager in a basement. Whoever was behind Cicada 3301 had reach. They had money. They had a plan. And it was all happening in real time. The internet exploded with theories. Some believed it was a government recruitment project, maybe the CIA or MI6 looking for gifted codebreakers. Others thought it was a cult, using psychological games to recruit members into some underground movement. A few even feared it was part of a dark web trap, meant to lure hackers and then blackmail them into silence. But the thing that really terrified people, there was no reward, no prize, no explanation, just a promise that the few who make it would be contacted privately. And that's exactly what happened. As people got closer to solving the puzzle, they stopped posting updates. They stopped replying to threads. Some confirmed they received an email from Cicada, but refused to say what it contained. Then they went silent, vanished from the online communities completely. Were they recruited, threatened, told to stop? No one knew. And the more you tried to investigate, the more confusing it became. Because every time Cicada posted a new puzzle, once in 2012, again in 2013, and then in 2014, it was just as complicated, just as mysterious, and just as silent at the end. And after that, nothing. Cicada 3301 disappeared. But that first image, that black square with a haunting message, sparked something much bigger than a puzzle. It triggered a global obsession, a mystery that no one has been able to solve completely. And for many, it was the beginning of something much darker than just a game. Because there's one thing the internet has learned over the years. It's that sometimes the scariest thing isn't what you find. It's who's watching you while you're looking. Once that first clue was solved, what followed was unlike anything the internet had ever seen. The puzzle spread like wildfire. It wasn't just a clever game anymore. This was a multi-layered, deeply intelligent, and eerily organized global hunt. People from all around the world started joining in. Cryptographers, hackers, coders, puzzle lovers, gamers, and even professors. And here's what made it so terrifying. It wasn't just digital. Sure, it started online. The first few clues were hidden in the image's code, leading to obscure websites and cryptic texts. But the further people went, the more they realized this thing wasn't going to stay inside the safety of their screens. The puzzle had spilled into the real world. One of the clues, buried inside a complex cipher, revealed a list of GPS coordinates. These weren't random places. They were exact street corners, bus stops, public phone booths, and not just in one country. These coordinates pointed to 14 locations across the world: Warsaw, Poland; Seoul, South Korea; Paris, France; Sydney, Australia; Seattle, Washington; Miami, Florida, and more. People in those cities rushed to the coordinates, not knowing what they'd find. And incredibly, at each location, they found the same thing: a white sheet of paper taped or pinned in public, with a black image of Cicada and a QR code. Yes, Cicada 3301 was real. Not a hoax. Not just a screen-based mystery. Whoever was behind this had planted physical clues across multiple continents. That meant money. That meant planning. That meant global reach. And now, people weren't just curious, they were obsessed. Each poster's QR code led to another series of puzzles. Some involved books like the Mabinogion, an ancient Welsh legend. Others led to codes buried in music files, ones that could only be heard when slowed down, reversed, and digitally analyzed. There were images that, when run through special software, revealed another layer of code hidden in the pixels. Some people spent days just trying to decode one line. And if you thought this was just a game for fun, think again. These puzzles required a deep understanding of mathematics, philosophy, literature, and computer science. The kind of knowledge an average person doesn't just stumble into. Some clues even use a form of encryption employed by intelligence agencies. The internet quickly divided into two groups: those who were trying to solve it, and those watching from the sidelines, amazed and horrified by how deep it went. More and more people joined in. Reddit threads exploded. Conspiracy forums went wild. News sites began to report on the phenomenon, calling it the most elaborate and mysterious puzzle of the internet age. But here's the most chilling part. When someone got too close to solving it, they disappeared. That's not a myth. It's a documented pattern. A few Reddit users who have been consistently solving clues, posting progress, helping others, suddenly went silent. Their accounts deleted, their contributions erased. Some people claimed they had received an email from Cicada 3301 congratulating them, asking for further private communication. After that, nothing. They stopped posting. They vanished from every platform. It was as if Cicada had picked them and taken them offline. No one knew what happened to these solvers. Were they recruited? Threatened? Did they sign NDAs? Did they even exist in the first place? The puzzle continued for about a month. Then it ended. Just like that. No conclusion. No explanation. No winner's list. No announcement. Just silence. And then, exactly a year later, in January 2015, it happened again. Another message from Cicada. A brand new puzzle. More clues. More real-world locations. More confusion. The process repeated in 2014. Another round, just as complex, just as secretive. And then, after that, Cicada disappeared. No more messages. No more clues. No final answer. To this day, no one knows who was behind it. Not a single person has stepped forward to claim responsibility. No insider has revealed what the end game was. And no one who won has ever broken their silence. The mystery of Cicada 3301 didn't just capture the minds of the internet. It haunted them, because the further you went, the more the puzzle felt like it was watching you, not the other way around. The question now wasn't just, Who is Cicada 3301? It was also, why are they so silent? What do they want? And what happens if they return again? By now, it was clear that Cicada 3301 was not just an ordinary puzzle. It wasn't a marketing stunt. It wasn't a game. It wasn't a prank by some internet troll. It was deliberate, intelligent, and extremely well-funded. And after 3 puzzles, one each in 2012, 2013, and 2014, the world still had no idea who was behind it. So, naturally, theories began to flood the internet, and some of them were absolutely terrifying. Theory 1. Government recruitment. The most common and somewhat believable theory is that Cicada was created by a government intelligence agency. Maybe the CIA, NSA, GCHQ, or some other covert operation. Why? Because the puzzles required top-level skills in cryptography, cybersecurity, linguistics, mathematics, and steganography. And those are exactly the kind of skills intelligence agencies look for. Some clues even use encryption methods known only to military or governmental operations. One puzzle led to a page that used a custom-made encryption system. This wasn't something a teenager could build in their bedroom. This was professional. So the theory goes like this. Cicada was actually a recruitment test, an elaborate global challenge to find geniuses who could work in secret intelligence roles. If you solved the puzzle, you were invited into a world that few people even know exists. But there's one problem with that theory. No government ever admitted it. And none of the supposed winners ever leaked anything about being recruited. For a global campaign, that silence is suspicious and a little too perfect. Theory 2. A secret society. Others believe Cicada 3301 was something even deeper, a digital secret society. An underground organization looking to recruit members with extreme intelligence and discipline. This theory says Cicada isn't tied to any country or political group. Instead, it's a philosophical or ideological group, possibly with anarchist leanings. Why anarchist? Because in one of the puzzles, Cicada included a PGP, sign message, a way to prove the message was legitimate and secure. In it, they made something very clear. We do not care about wealth. We do not care about power. We do not care about followers. They also emphasize independence, privacy, and resistance to authority, themes commonly linked to hacker groups, whistleblowers, and rebels. So maybe Cicada was building a team, a network of elite minds, trained to stay hidden, working behind the scenes to resist control, censorship, or surveillance. That might explain why no winners ever spoke out, because they believe in the mission. Theory 3. A cult or digital trap. Then there's a darker side. Some believe Cicada was not about recruitment or puzzles, but about control. A few people online suggest it was a cult, a digital experiment to lure in the curious, isolate them, and test how far they go to uncover the truth. They point to the obsessive behavior solvers, the sleepless nights, the total disappearance of winners, and the psychological toll the puzzle took on many. There's even a disturbing possibility that Cicada wasn't recruiting geniuses. It was studying them, watching how people responded, seeing who followed orders without question, who broke the rules, who got obsessed, who gave up, and that maybe the final test wasn't a puzzle at all. It was what you became while trying to solve it. The creepiest detail. They were always one step ahead. Here's what really unsettled people. Cicada 3301 always seemed to know who was cheating. When some users tried to solve puzzles as a group or use shared resources to break clues faster, Cicada released a message scolding them. They said, "There's one path. There's only one way. Beware false paths. Always verify. Do not share." That freaked people out. It meant Cicada was watching. They weren't just dropping clues and leaving. They were monitoring the community, reading forums, tracking solvers, and judging their behavior in real time. That level of involvement scared many away, because it meant you were never alone. So, who are they? To this day, no one knows. No individual has come forward. No organization has taken credit. No whistleblower has revealed the inside story. Nothing. Even years later, the mystery remains exactly the same as it was the day it started. They called themselves Cicada 3301. They left some of the most brilliant minds completely puzzled. And then they vanished. No contact. No follow-up. just digital dust in the wind. And that silence, that's what still haunts people the most. Because if this wasn't a game, then what was it? After 3 years of intense puzzles, 2012, 2013, and 2014, Cicada 3301 simply vanished. No more messages, no new puzzles, no answers, just silence. And in that silence, the internet began to change. What was once a thrilling, fast-paced, high IQ race became something darker, a ghost town of abandoned threads, unsolved clues, and unanswered questions. People were still obsessed, but now they were obsessed with the absence of Cicada. Every January, puzzle solvers would refresh the usual forums, waiting, hoping for another cryptic message. But nothing came. Some even created fake puzzles in Cicada style, trying to revive the mystery or trick others into solving them. But they were never quite right. The tone, the skill, the precision, it was missing. That's when people started realizing something chilling. Maybe the puzzle wasn't really about solving anything at all. Maybe the real test had already ended. The winners who never spoke, one of the most disturbing parts of Cicada 3301's story, is what happened to those who succeeded. Remember, several people did make it far into the puzzle. Some even made it to the final stages. They received private communication from Cicada, often through encrypted email or Tor links. And then they just disappeared. These weren't unknown users. These were active solvers, smart, respected members of the community who had posted walkthroughs, updates, and breakdowns for weeks. They were the best of the best. But after their final message from Cicada, gone. Accounts deleted. No more updates. No replies to messages. Complete silence. Some Reddit users claimed that they had spoken with a winner privately. The winner supposedly told them they were asked to sign a non-disclosure agreement, promising not to reveal what Cicada really was or what they had found. One even said that those who were selected had joined a private group, hidden from the rest of the internet, but no screenshots, no proof, no identities revealed. If these stories are true, then Cicada didn't just test solvers. It recruited them, and it did so in total secrecy, with no leaks, no media exposure, and no visible trace. That level of control, it frightened people. Was it ever about the puzzle? By 2015, a new theory started gaining attention online. Maybe the puzzle itself was never the point. Maybe it was all a distraction. A test to see how far people would go. A giant filter to identify specific types of minds. Those who were obsessive, loyal, deeply intelligent, and willing to follow instructions without question. Some experts compared the puzzles to psychological experiments. The kind of thing intelligence agencies used during the Cold War to study human behavior and susceptibility. One academic even suggested Cicada could be a recruitment funnel disguised as a game. If that's true, then the puzzles weren't about finding the answer. They were about finding the right kind of person. And when those people were found, they were removed from the public eye. The copycats and the chaos after Cicada's silence, imitators flooded the internet. Some were clearly fake, rushed puzzles, sloppy design, or ad disguised as mysteries. Others were more convincing, even getting news coverage. But die-hard fans could always tell the difference. Only the original Cicada had that perfect mix of discipline, global reach, and eeriness. As time passed, new puzzles faded, and the once thriving communities fell apart. Forums were deleted, threads were archived, people moved on. But for a small group of solvers, the obsession never ended. They still dig through the old clues, trying to find something they missed. They analyze every message, every image, every piece of code, hoping to uncover a bigger truth. Some believe the puzzle still isn't over, that Cicada is still watching, still waiting, still choosing. And every January, when the anniversary comes around, they check again, just in case Cicada decides to return. The haunting legacy, even in silence, Cicada 3301 left behind something unforgettable. It proved that a single anonymous post could trigger a global hunt, connect brilliant minds, and expose the vulnerabilities of the digital world. It left us with more questions than answers. Who created Cicada? What was their goal? We're the winners now. And why hasn't anyone ever broken the silence? But perhaps the scariest question of all is this. If they could pull it off once, Could they be doing it again, right now, and we just haven't noticed yet? Because in the shadows of the internet, behind encrypted walls and hidden messages, some mysteries were never meant to be solved. Years have passed since the last verified message from Cicada 3301. No new puzzles, no new clues, no more cryptic riddles appearing online or in real-world locations. But the mystery hasn't died. In fact, it has become even more disturbing. The puzzle wasn't just brilliant, it was personal. It interacted with users, watched their progress, judged their methods, and disappeared without a trace after choosing a select few. That level of coordination isn't just impressive, it's terrifying. It suggests one thing: Cicada 3301 isn't gone. It's just waiting. The internet remembers on forums like Reddit for Chan and old puzzle-solving communities, threads about Cicada still pop up. Some are hopeful, others are desperate, but all of them share one thought. What if Cicada isn't finished? Some users believe that the first 3 puzzles were just a beginning, a way to test who would go the distance. Now, those chosen are working on something bigger, something we're not meant to see. And maybe, just maybe, the next phase won't be public at all. Some theorize that the solvers who disappeared were brought into a private network and are now engaged in higher-level operations, possibly involving digital security, political resistance, or global surveillance monitoring. If Cicada was a recruitment project, then those people are no longer puzzle solvers. They're operatives. The fear behind the silence, but not everyone believes Cicada is coming back. Some think the group behind Cicada achieved what they needed, and now they're silent because they don't want to be found. Think about it. Whoever they were, they created something that reached across multiple continents. They planted clues in real-world locations. They engaged the brightest minds online. They maintained total secrecy for years. And then they stopped. That kind of silence takes effort, discipline, planning. In fact, it's almost scarier than if they were still active, because it means that whoever was behind Cicada knew exactly when to vanish. They weren't in it for fame, attention, or money. They didn't sell the mystery as a book or turn it into a Netflix documentary. They simply left. And that leaves one terrifying possibility. Cicada wasn't meant to entertain us. It was meant to filter us. What if you solved it? Here's a chilling question that still haunts many. What if someone solved the Cicada puzzle today? Right now, alone, quietly, without sharing the answer. Would they be contacted? Watched? Followed? Would a message suddenly appear in their inbox? Would a hidden website unlock with new instructions? Or would someone appear in real life, just like those strange posters on street corners around the world? This fear isn't just fiction. It's been reported. A few users who engaged with the puzzle years ago claim to have had strange experiences. Emails from unknown addresses, encrypted messages they didn't request, or unexpected phone calls that disconnected after one ring. Are these just rumors, coincidences, or signs that someone is still monitoring the trail? The truth: we may never know. The internet is full of unsolved mysteries. Dark websites, missing persons, coded broadcasts. But Cicada 3301 stand apart because of how cleanly it executed every phase and then disappeared. No one was arrested. No location was traced. No real identity was ever revealed. And in an age where even billion-dollar corporations get hacked, Cicada was untouchable. That's what still haunts puzzle solvers to this day. This wasn't a hoax. It wasn't an ad campaign. It was real, and it was perfectly executed. So the question remains, was Cicada just an internet mystery? Or was it the front door to something far bigger, a digital shadow organization, a test for elite minds, or a silent rebellion against control? The truth? We may never know, but the possibility still lingers. And that's what keeps the story alive. Final thought: Cicada 3301 didn't leave us with answers. It left us with doubt, obsession, and a question no one can shake. What happens when the smartest people in the world decide to disappear? On purpose? Because somewhere out there, in the deep, hidden corners of the web, the cicada may still be watching. And the next time it sings, you might not even hear it coming. The mystery of Cicada 3301 still haunts the darkest corners of the internet. What do you think it really was? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell, because the next unsolved case might be even closer than you think.